setting precedent? Do you think that matters? Having not watched the college football playoff selection show in 9 years, do you think Florida State's position in week 1 matters because of the ability to move up or down week to week? Or do you think it's just going to be a dog and pony show until we get to later in November?
I think it matters to a degree. I definitely think it matters to a degree. And that's why I take all of it seriously, man. Like, I take all of the little subtle politicking from different people that have platforms that kind of set the stage, and I know at the end of the day, what the public thinks or whatever isn't going to necessarily change based on like what the public opinions is based on what talking heads at ESPN or wherever say. But I do feel like it's part of that once it becomes narrative and becomes fact, it's almost like you have to overcome that. And that's not fair. So I just feel like, I think you need to be in there. And I think you can make a case, man. I've talked to a lot of different people that are not even Florida State fans who, if you look at it objectively, Florida State, Florida State's resume is as impressive as anybody else's, maybe better than anybody else's. And if it wasn't, the only reason you're going to put Georgia and Michigan and I guess Ohio State above them is because of what's happened in recent years. The fact that a lot of those were in the playoffs. They've been in the playoffs. Georgia's won 2 straight national championships. But if you look at the way the teams have played this year, it's hard to argue that those teams are clearly better than Florida State, let alone Florida State somehow being left out of the top 4, which is what has been put forth by some of the talking heads.
Yeah, the dominance factor is what Florida State will be battling when it comes to Michigan. And then it's a good final impression for Georgia yesterday to blow the doors off of Florida, who was 5-2 at the time. Whatever we believe of them is irrelevant. Just, if you're going to argue for Georgia, they gave you more ammunition. But there's 2 things that Florida State has, Ira. It's the strength of record, the strength of the schedule that they played so far. And then if you look at efficiency metrics, which they are supposed to be considering, the committee, Florida State is top 11 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. They're about the most balanced team in the country. So if Florida State is going to be ranked highly in the eyes of the committee, I think that's what they're going to lean on. You just have to hope that that's where they go, and Florida State isn't behind, a team like Washington. Like that would be something from the top row, because Washington struggled again this weekend. This is 2 in a row now. They didn't score an offensive touchdown, not one, against Arizona State 2 weeks ago. And if Stanford's all-world wide receiver doesn't go down, I don't know. That might have been a game all the way to the bitter end. So I think Florida State should be comfortably above Washington. And then the Big 12's out of the race for now, Ira, until the field comes back to them. Oklahoma losing to Kansas yesterday is a huge deal for Florida State, because now at maximum 4 conferences in the Power 5 can have an undefeated conference champion. That discussion is completely dead now.
Yeah. And the only, I think the one unfortunate thing, I guess, for Florida State is whoever they play in the ACC championship game probably is not going to help their cause a whole lot. I mean, we'll see. Maybe Louisville wins out. I don't know that they will. I have a feeling you're going to be playing a 2-loss team in the ACC championship game. So you're not going to get a whole lot of style points for that. I originally thought maybe if you end up playing Clemson again, or if you somehow end up playing like a top 10 North Carolina team. But I think Florida State's resume is going to be what it is probably after that Florida game. And I don't think they're going to be picking up points because all these other conference championship games, I think probably are going to look better, or some of them will look better than Florida State's.
Probably so. Where Louisville stands in the college football playoff top 25 Tuesday is important.
Yeah.
If they're going to win out. But then again, who knows? They're playing Virginia Tech this upcoming weekend. And Ira, Virginia Tech only has 1 conference loss. Yeah. So the Hokies are still alive. If they were to score an upset this weekend, they would be in the driver's seat to match Florida State. It's a rematch from 2010, the ACC championship game. So wouldn't that be so on brand? No more coastal, but they're doing the coastal thing left and right in this conference.
And it would be, that was what the matchup was supposed to be when they went to the divisions. It was supposed to be Florida State and Virginia Tech, or Florida State and Miami in the conference championship all the time. And it was for a little while there. You were getting Florida State and Virginia Tech. But it's been a long time since Virginia Tech's been relevant. It's funny though, them and Boston College both, I think we felt like there was a chance, the way they played in those games against Florida State, that both those teams may have found something offensively with those new quarterbacks. And I think that's proven to be the case. And I think that makes, again, none of this is relevant on a national scale. No matter how good BC looks on offense since what they looked like earlier in the year, or Virginia Tech, none of these teams are going to give you any kind of clout. And so that's the challenge for Florida State. I mean, they have to be undefeated, and they have to hope that there's no chicanery going on.
Yeah, well, I consider me a cynic in that
Yeah.
regard. To the nearly 700 of you that are watching, thank you for being here on Sunday Smash on Warchant TV. He's Ira, I'm Tom. Please hit the thumbs up underneath the video. Helps us find more FSU fans, and there's going to be more of them flocking the casuals. You're the diehards, but the casuals are about to be flocking to where they can get Florida State news. So if you hit the thumbs up, we can find more of them. We appreciate your support, as we do the support of Robert D. Thank you very much, Robert. He just had kind words for us. I think there was an autocorrect there where he says golf Warchant. I do like to golf, Robert, but go Noles, go Warchant. Thanks for all you do. We appreciate you. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
And then Joshua. Now, this is a question from yesterday. Was that the most nonchalant one-handed catch you've ever seen? Also, did it look like Keon was waiting for that safety to punk him with the stiff arm?
Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I don't know why I didn't. I think I got distracted with something I was doing, but I almost tweeted about Keon's stiff arm because I do think he waited for him, and it was also the most dismissive stiff arm I think I've ever seen. It was like Keon. I've got more fear of aliens coming into my house right now than Keon Coleman did that guy was going to stop him from getting in the end zone. I mean, like. It was just comical. I mean, that guy is literally a man among boys. The one-handed catch was incredible too.
It's just great to see again. I said it before, but the variety, like this touchdown for Keon on the quick short hitch and the run, the stiff arm, all that kind of stuff, Ira. That was something we saw last year at Syracuse. Malik McClain put somebody into the ground last year at Syracuse in an evil way. Johnny Wilson scored a touchdown, same thing. But it's just when you're watching the offense here, and thank you, Robert. We'll get to your second, this is different, Robert, donation in just a moment. But Ira, this offense feels like it's coming together a little bit. That's not a slouch of a defense from Wake Forest. That Mustafa kid at safety can really play. Yeah. And there was a deep shot to Darion Williamson where it's almost like I remember Jordan's throw against Notre Dame a few years ago, that Monday night, and that safety for Notre Dame ran clear across the field, and he broke it up.
The kid from Notre Dame picked off that one pass.
Oh, he picked it off. That's right.
Yeah, that kid was unbelievable.
I mean, it was a play that was akin to that. So my point again is this is not a slouch of a defense. They weren't ranked, in the hundreds in defense. Their offense was terrible coming into the game, but not Wake Forest defense. And it just looks like the Florida State offense, Ira, is coming together. Different pieces, different facets of it. Maybe it's forced because of the injuries, but it looks like it's in a much healthier place than it was even, say, 9 days ago.
Yeah, I'd recommend people, if you get a chance, go look for Dave Clawson's post-game press conference from yesterday. And he was really complimentary of Florida State during the week. And all these coaches have been. And I know sometimes you kind of roll your eyes about, I don't know, how do they really feel? I can just tell you, we've been covering Dave Clawson for about 10 years. And he's not a guy who just throws out, just false compliments just because. He could be a little bit salty. We saw it during the game, the way he was interacting with the officiating. That's how he is. He gives no quarter and takes no quarter. And the way he talked about Florida State after the game is really incredible. I mean, he basically, especially talking about the offense, he's like, it's an all-star team. He's like, they didn't even have 14, and he's one of the best receivers in the conference. He goes, it's just ridiculous. He goes, you bring the tight ends they've got, the receivers they've got, the Jordan Travis. He was stumping for Jordan Travis to win the Heisman or at least be in New York. And I think I'm not saying we take it for granted, but we've kind of come to expect it. And our expectations were so high coming into this year that when they only scored 38 points or whatever, it felt like maybe they're not playing to their level. But I think now you've seen it over 8 games. I think you do have to appreciate that, this offense, man, it's a bear.